Alright, lesson 6, hydraulic and filler bleeders. Usually the hydraulic filler bleed with the hydraulic filler bleeders use the to remove the trap air with the hydraulic system, shift the hydraulic brake of the hydraulic clutch system, the hydraulic brake of the clutch system of the component repair. Air to replace for the system must be open. They allow the air to enter the system, the air system and result with the spongy pedal with the field of action. Since the air system and the compressible Aipd reduce pressure with the force and result with the pouring of the brake at action with the brakes applied. Although you can bleed with the hydraulic brake and the clutch system without filler bleeder, using simplify the job allows you to accomplish the task without assistance. Hydraulic filler may be used with the hydraulic brake system, the hydraulic clutch system, dually shaped cylinders, dual clutch and brake cylinders, all brake systems, and all master cylinders without check valve description. Filler bleeder figure 67 with the round cylinder divided into two chamber, the tank of the diaphragm, the two chamber that holds the hydraulic blank fluid, and the bottom holds the pressurized air with the filler bleeders mounted with the cast of the rollers, which allow it to be moved easily around the shop. Figure 67 shows the hydraulic filler bleeder. Starting with the quick disconnect female terminals fluid chamber to the NS number 4910027333638. Filler bleeder comes within 7 bleeder adapter figure 68, but they are designed for most master cylinders on the market at all this time. Figure 68 show the bleeder attempt adapters. In addition to the adapter filler bleeder come to the bleeder hove to the elbows, male and female, quick disconnect and spare gaskets set in figure 69. 69 show the additional components. The number that appear with the filler bleeder of the adapter is part of the number that correspond with the parts in figure 70. Figure 70 part list. Filler unit, refer to 67 loose valve with the cap that's off of the air chamber to leave with the valve open, A open, and with the ensure the valve B is fully open. Wipe the dirt off the top of the tank. Open the filler plug C with the figure 67. The filler fluid chamber of the brim of the inlet brake of the fluid silicone automotive all-weather operation preservative military specification ML B46176. Close the plug C with the figure 67. The hand tight the air cap of the A securely with the filler unit type the air through the cap A until the gauge reads into the black 20 or 30 psi. 20 psi is sufficient to bleed all vehicles. When you do not shove the unit in the air in excess of the 50 psi, do not sharp the tools other than probe to return the diaphragm normal to position. Open the bleeder, screw the D, figure 67, and bleed any with the air within there may be trapped in fluid section and filler bleed. The initial filling with the hose should be bled with the male with the disc fitting of the part number T1712 of the figure 69. Connection filler bleed with the master cylinder. Clean the top of the master cylinder to clean the dirt dripping off the opening end. Remove the filler cap of the master cylinder. Clean the gasket see thoroughly. Refer to figure 68. Select the install of the proper adapter and the gasket on the most adapter tan type with sufficient with the cleaning of the surface of the group with the proper gasket. Others may require with the wrench to tighten enough to hold the proper pressure. C-screw the quick disc of the male fitting of the part number T1712 and the figure 69 adapter master cylinder hand tighten. The connect with the female disconnect with the figure 71 with the female disconnect attached to the end with the long hose directly with the male adapter. The master cylinder, be sure the valve B with the figure 67 is open. The same system is now ready for the bleeding. Figure 71 shows the bleeding filler bleeding with the connection with the master cylinder. Master cylinder adapter quick disconnect female and male, the fluid chamber and the air chamber, and the open valve. General pressure check with the leaks of the airline hose with the check of the connections made on the vehicle with the bleed the unit with the following order. Master cylinder same with the head with the bleed screw with the well screw with the power points line bleed screw with finally all wheel cylinders. See refer to figure 72 with the attached bleeder with the hose part B 75 with the B51 56. The each with the bleeder screw with in turn with the insert with the open end with the housing with the bottom of the glass container end with the hose should be submerged in the fluid. Open the screw permanent all the escape. Watch the air bubbles in the fluid for the positive check when the fluid flows clear without all air bubbles close the bleeder screw and tighten the scurly. Figure 72 shows attaching the bleeder hose, the glass jar with the bleeder hose, the backing planing, and the bleeder screw. To remove the dust and air from the master cylinder, quickly show the bleed with the left of the front wheel cylinder, then the right, the left, the rear with the right, and right front with the left of the front. Again, it could re-bleed 4 wheels again to ensure the perfect airframe system. Disconnect the bleeder will always clear to cover the disconnect with a cloth with the disconnect, then avoid fluid spilling onto the vehicle's finish for the adjusting coupled with the quick disconnect. Remove the adapter from the cylinder. Be sure the reservoir is filled with the 1/2 inch left at the top to replace with the gasket and filler cap. Caution. Always cover the fender with the keep the hose with the clean and avoid the damage of the finished power break without with the general procedure below, but except that do not bleed within the motor running. If the power use the bleeder screw, bleed it first and see it. Some have the two bleeder screw with the two or bleed with the highest screw first. When the bleeder of the traveling valve, not only press for the 10, 12 of the PSI with the bleeder tank with the bleeding of the hydrovac of the double stage control valve. Re-bleed with the highest bleeder screw at 3 or 4 times to ensure the complete air removal of the clutch system. Following general bleeding procedure for the clutch control, will always use the loose pressure will build up like a brake pedal. By essentially pumping it will not help. Vertical type of the wheel cylinders are in the internal cross. The connection should be pre-filled with the install before installing. So connect the cylinders with the cross line head and hand tighten with the bench and pre-filled with the cylinders. Moving the pistons slightly will help to assure the complete filling with the hose line. With the should be pressure build lead before connecting the wheel cylinders pre-build until the units after the installing. Surge bleeding in some of the vehicles of the Diagnostic vertical wheel cylinder requires surge bleeding on cylinders until cylinder of the bleeder screw but not always the highest point to allow the air to escape through. Completely bleeding is difficult. Surge bleeding will help to bleed each wheel with the pressure bleeder. Once a bleeder screw at one bleeder screw at a time, having some of the kick of the brake with the period pedal vigorously at a few times. This will cover the turbulency and the cylinder forcing additional air out. Caution: performing in line with the vehicles to equip the operator to check the following. Always check with the connection with the leaks and by applying heavy pressure with the pedals and treadle with if the system is a vacuum or assisted to start the engine and to create the vacuum in order to build the air pressure. Always check with the bypass part with the master cylinder. Be sure to clear with the system and the rest with the never probe with the small bypass hole with applying with the brakes so there should be ripple in the fluid with the master cylinder. Rest wire applying the brakes a few times. This should also be a ripple to cause the returning the fluid to connect with the visual and bright lights with visible warning if the bypass of the part is not clear with the brake system. Lock up with a good car because serious damage with the caution. Also check with the brake pedal linkage for the free travel without suggesting the corners with an appropriate technical manual as needed. Filler breeder maintenance with the bleeder filler tank of the fitting should be kept clean at all times. Never allow the tank fittings to come in contact with mineral oil products such as the kerosene, motor oil. Thinners do not use the water and to clean the tank at any time. The fittings can be cleaned and anything other than the brake fluid should be thoroughly dried inside and out before use. Air chamber: periodically clean out the air chamber in order to remove any water or dirt, sludge that may enter the air system when using the fill of the tank. Remove the rinse with the safety valve part with the number T4669 with clean alcohol. Be sure to drain and dry complete with the void containing the next fluid fill. Fluid chamber: the fluid chamber needs no attention unless the dirt is improper. The fluid has to be removed. The rinse with the clean alcohol with the drain and dry chamber to completely avoid contaminating the next fluid fill. Safety valve of the part number T4669, the figure 70 with the bottom of the tank is set to blow off with about 50 psi. When the pressure is relieved, it will reset itself with about 30 psi. And this was a reading. This was a reading of your engine construction equipment testing, measuring, and diagnostic equipment.